Welcome to the Human Nature Channel. I'm your host, mtamsula, and what am I doing here? Well, that depends on where here is. I'm staying at a cabin at Black Moshannon State Park, about 150 miles east of Pittsburgh. Yesterday, my silent partner and I made the trip in the afternoon. He's on the other side of this camera. Would you like to get into the picture? Well, I guess that's a no. Anyway, this is low country, bogland. We're surrounded on all sides by ridges. No cell phone reception, no internet, no TV. The world could end. We could be the last two guys on Earth, and who would tell us? Fortunately, that's not the case. We actually got the chance to get out and walk around and hike some of the trails. That is a frog. That has got to be the smallest frog I've ever seen in my life. Well, there he goes. Maybe I can zoom in on him. Yes, there are frogs out here. Oh, there he goes. Black Moshannon State Park wetlands. I think this is the first time I've ever been up close and personal with wetlands. Very nice, very scenic. Back in 1790, this was peat bogs and beaver ponds. But then in 1937, a concrete sort of dam was put in and put all the beavers out of business. But what you ended up with in its place is this wetlands habitat. So we're walking down one of the trails and we come across this stack of rocks. And I think the guy who built Stonehenge got his start this way. Yeah, here's some more of the wetlands. So how about some Las Vegas shooting truth community yak, because that's what you're here for. Well, we're doing something a little different tonight. I'm sure you picked that up from the background. We're inside the cabin, and my silent partner has agreed to participate in a little experiment. Say hi to everybody, SP.
Hi, everybody.
But since he speaks, he's no longer my silent partner, he's my invisible partner, and from now on I will be referring to him as IP. So, what if I was talking to someone who was coming to the story of the Las Vegas shooting only knowing what they had heard on the news, and I invited them to ask me questions to learn more? That's what we're going to do here. IP has written up some questions, and he's going to fire them at me. So let's see how this goes. IP?
The annual Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Paradise, Nevada in 2017 ran from September 29th through October 1st. What happened there?
The concert goers were fired upon from two hotel rooms on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay owned by MGM Resorts. 58 people were killed. One victim died from her wounds a year later, bringing the total to 59. Over 500 were wounded from gunshots and trampling.
What is the official explanation?
The shooter was a 64-year-old retiree named Stephen Paddock who gambled at video poker pretty much full time. Over the years, Paddock had become a multi-millionaire through real estate deals. He had taken 24 guns up to his rooms, a mixture of .308 and .223 caliber weapons. The .223s were outfitted with an add-on gadget called a bump stock, which can simulate the firing rate of an automatic weapon. This is how Paddock killed and injured so many people.
Who is believable? Are any of the narrators reliable?
That's a very good question, because it goes to the heart of what's wrong with the investigations conducted by the Las Vegas Metro Police Department and the FBI. There are no reliable narrators. A security guard from Mandalay Bay named Jesus Campos was shot through the door of room 32-135 and wounded. LVMPD Sheriff Joe Lombardo initially said Paddock fired at Campos at 9:59 p.m. The media then tried to make Campos appear the hero, saying he interrupted Paddock's shooting at the crowd and therefore saved lives, which would have put Paddock firing through the door at the end of his rampage at 10:15. But the final word is in the FIT report, which puts the shooting through the door around 10:07, 10:08. As you can see, there are no reliable narrators.
So what's your angle? Are you just another conspiracy buff? And if so, what makes your thoughts worth a listen?
Well, first of all, what I'm doing with the Las Vegas Shooting Truth community and what I say about the Las Vegas shooting, I don't consider conspiracy theory. Whatever the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said happened as far as Paddock being the shooter, Paddock killed these people, I'm not disagreeing with that. Now, there were other people in the Las Vegas Shooting Truth community who were spinning alternative theories to Paddock was the shooter, to Paddock was a patsy. That's not what I'm talking about. Paddock did this, okay? I've been looking at this for over a year and a half, and I am convinced of he did the shooting. There may be broader ancillary details that could be brought in later, but at this point, he did it. And that's another thing when it comes to the phrase conspiracy theory. I prefer to say insufficiently investigated crime, because that is what's going on here. The crime was not sufficiently investigated. There are problems most people don't know about, especially when the SWAT team gained entry to room 32-135, blew open the door. They just went trampling through the place. They were destroying evidence. When they made it into 32-134, the next door room, they had to blow that door open too. One of the officers, whose name was McDonald, accidentally fires his AR-15 in that room, which means the force investigation team comes in. That's internal affairs. They step in and they are now leading the investigation of the Las Vegas shooting. Homicide has to take kind of a back seat, okay? That's where I say insufficiently investigated crime, because there was a lot of sloppy police work, a lot of stuff was lost. There's a lot of things we probably will never know because the LVMPD made a mess of things. Whenever they did an autopsy of Paddock, his day of death, on the death certificate, is the next day. It's October 2nd at 12 noon, because the coroner got the body on October 2nd, 12 noon, and wrote that down as the time of death. What's bizarre is, I believe she was there that night. All she had to do was put a thermometer in his mouth and get an estimate on how long he had been laying there. Wasn't even done. So, yeah, that's my angle. Something's not right. People are covering up incompetence. People are covering up corruption. And Mandalay Bay, MGM Resorts, they were angling for the best story they can leverage when it came to negotiating a settlement. So, any more questions?
Well, as you say, a lot of people are spinning hypotheses of cover-ups and conspiracies regarding this and lots of other incidents. Why is that? Why so many conspiracy theorists?
Well, because it's the easiest thing in the world to write fiction. All you have to do is take a bunch of disparate items, link them together, and if you do it right, people say, wow, that's believable, but it might not have anything to do with the truth. People are disturbed by the thought that it was just randomness. I mean, even going back to the Las Vegas shooting, a lot of people are disturbed by the thought it was just this one guy. They can't believe it. Just this one guy did all this. On the other hand, sometimes there really are cover-ups. And that takes us back to the Las Vegas shooting investigation and why you had things like leaked crime scene photos that were never punished by the policeman who leaked them. And we all know who did it. Okay, it was one of the SWAT officers in there who had a relationship with a reporter, I think out of Boston or something like that. Total slop, really. Very, very bad police work. And of course, the LVMPD is going to put the best face forward on it, and they're going to burnish their image. And a guy like Joe Lombardo is part of the old boy network of Las Vegas. When he gets, I mean, he's a politician. You know, the guy stood in front of a podium, and he's in front of a podium, and we know what happens when politicians are put in front of podiums. You can't really trust what they're saying. Mandalay Bay, MGM Resorts put money into his campaign coffers. So there you go. It's big, big money, and you're kind of up against the entire gaming industry in Nevada when you're trying to point out what's wrong with this situation here. So it's actually a serious David and Goliath thing. You know, you've got this small group of folks who, you've got the survivors of the Las Vegas shooting. I think it's pretty universal among a lot of them that, or all of them, that they feel neglected. They didn't get the attention that they thought this tragedy deserved. So that's part of my angle too. You know, yes, I understand that. I lived through a mass shooting in just about a year later in Squirrel Hill. So yeah, that's my angle. Anything else?
Well, I was hoping to see your dad.
Oh, well, next week. Next week, I'm going to get him on video, you know, whether he wants to be on or not. So, yeah, Dad's coming back. Dad owes me a presentation, so, yeah, that's coming up. So, anyway, we're up here at Black Moshannon State Park. We had a great time over the last couple of days. And, hey, I'll leave the last word to IP over here.
Goodbye, everybody.
Welcome to the Human Nature Channel. I'm your host, mtamsula, and what am I doing here? Well, that depends on where here is. I am at a cabin at Black Moshannon State Park, about 150, 160 miles east of Pittsburgh. My silent partner and I made the trip yesterday afternoon. He's standing on the other side of this camera. Do you want to get into the picture? Oh, I guess that's a no. Anyway, this is low country, bogland, surrounded by ridges on all sides. No cell phone reception, no internet, no TV. The world could end, we could be the last two guys on Earth, and who would tell us? Fortunately, that's not the case. We have actually gotten the chance to get out and walk around and hike some of the trails.